That's not how you do that. Good morning, early birds. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I am here with you in the classroom. Boy, why do I look all big and up close? I don't know. Seems like the screen is different all of a sudden. But that's okay. It is day 365 in the classroom. It is June 24th. And I am here as somebody called me Miss Annette the other day in a comment, and I really liked that. I just try and remember things, and I remember people. I was like, who called me Miss Annette all the time? I can't remember. My cousin Sherry, I think, used to call me Miss Annette all the time. Day 365. And I liked it. I call myself Dr. Feravich because that's what I called my professors, and I am equal to them. They have Ph.D s, so you're supposed to go by Annette Feravich, Ph.D, but that's just BS because as a doctor, I'm much more intelligent than the MDs around who get to run around with the doctor name like it means something when it really doesn't, because you don't know anything about research. You don't know anything about medicine and making good medicine. You don't know anything about cures as in CURES. And that's so important because, yesterday I said something about being this bleeding heart liberal, and I am in the way that I think that God wants all of his children, not just some of them. I think he wants all of his children. If what he made, he said was good, then his children are good. Now, there could be children from somebody else other than our good Lord, but I think about the problem with medicine and MDs, and what that is they have really claimed to have cures, but they don't even claim that anymore. Nothing about medicine, not one single thing about medicine, not our heart jobs that we have, our valve replacements, our AFib, none of it is said to be a cure anymore. And what I think I offer you is a cure. When you look at the seed, where this came from, the genesis, the beginning, where did that behavior come from? Then you are getting at the cure. And so that's the reason why I've always called myself doctor. It's because I put myself on par, and actually I put myself above the majority of MDs out there. So yeah, I deserve the respect of being called a doctor. However, that title is so perverted now. It is so, I disrespect MDs so vastly. Why aren't you speaking out as much as I am? I don't hear you speaking out. And if you were speaking out, you would be able to do something about this problem that we've got with the pharmaceutical companies giving us all these synthetic medications that make us sick, and then call it science and be like, oh, duh. But all that being said, I'm an average Joe in a lot of ways, as I said yesterday, in my sins, right? And I want to be forgiven. I want to be cured of those kinds of maladaptive behaviors. I want to be cured of them. I don't want to have your stupid synthetic antidepressant, anti-anxiety. Oh no, you get antipsychotic. You're schizoaffective. Just making things up to put it in the diagnostic statistical manual. They made words up. They made up mental conditions and then got the people to go, oh, well, that helps me out. What's the cure for that? Well, we don't really have a cure for that, but we do have something that'll make you sick. So I don't like to be in the same class as them. So Miss Annette is, thank you for reminding me. I'm Miss Annette. Let's get started on our exercise. Miss Annette is the teacher here in the classroom. How's that for an intro? Hey, here I am. Do we want maps? No, we want moves like Jagger. Seriously, I can select it, but I can't play it. I figured it out. Let's get ready.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals.
Out to the side.
Animals, maybe
10.
anything that you can hide. I can smell yourself from eyes. Just
15.
like animals, animals, like animals. Baby, I'm
20.
so won't you try to do me? It's like we can't stop, we're enemies. Know we get along when I'm inside
5.
you.
10. 15. 20. Let me go straight back. 5. 10. 15. 20. 5. 10. 15. Really should do it like this. 20. Inner thigh. 5. 10. 15. 20. 5. 10. 15. 20. Knee lift. 5. 10. 15. 20. I think that's 6. 10. 15. 20. I think that's 20. Woo! Okay. All right. I also want to tell you that I did. Let's open up that door a little bit. See if we can't. Actually, no, we'll leave it just like that. Well, you'll hear the fan in the background. Okay, so to let you know, I like to keep that fan on. I had somebody blowing some heavy duty meth drug over here. I think I've told you about that. And it made me sick and it made me afraid is what it did. So I'm really watching for that. What is making me feel afraid? And it's usually chemicals. So if you are taking pharmaceuticals and you're feeling afraid, chances are it's because of the pharmaceuticals. Look how thick that is. So I'm watching to try and make sure I'm getting good food, that I'm getting more natural foods. I'm going to watch that closer and closer. So, you know, I've been buying the roasted chicken. I don't know what kind of chemicals, no matter what they say, that they put in there. I don't know whose hands are all over that has viruses. I know somebody had 4 legs in that, and 2 of them were as old as, you know, Grandpa. So I'm trying to watch that more because it really plays on your stomach, and your gut is your second brain. Now, that's kind of hard to understand. However, if my stomach is churning and nervous and upset, I can't think the way that I'm supposed to be able to think. Then I'm worried. What's going on? And when I get worried, some of those chemicals, the antipsychotics, Risperdal, gives you hallucinations. So if you're on those pharmaceuticals and your stomach is getting upset from the foods because the FDA does nothing about what we put in our foods, I don't know why we pay taxes. I'm not saying you shouldn't, because you can't say anything that would cause an upset in the capitalist economy without those people suing you for saying something, for them losing a buck. You know, you've seen the houses. They can't afford to lose a buck, right? Okay, let's get to our... I probably should have an Ed Delph picture up there for our 5-minute miracles. This has got vitamin C, a vitamin C tablet in there. It's about a tablespoon of vitamin C. That's the orange juice, 100% orange juice tablet or something like that. I'll show you. So chewable orange juice, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C per tablet. So that's really good. Don't forget, when you have a lot of vitamin C, it also helps you, you know, back there. So although I don't find that to be the cure, I find the magnesium bath soak right there. Yes, magnesium salts, Epsom salts, magnesium. Take a few minutes after you shower, fill the bathtub up with water and put some Epsom salts in there. That really does help. And then I put in a multivitamin in there as well. A liquid, orange liquid multivitamin in there. Let's go to our 5-minute miracle book by Ed Delph, Standing Out by Becoming Outstanding. Chapter number 10, Lessons from a Parrot. Dick received a parrot for his birthday. The parrot was fully grown with a bad attitude and even worse vocabulary. Every other word the parrot spoke was an expletive. Those that weren't expletives were, to say the least, rude. Dick tried hard to change the bird's attitude and was constantly saying polite words, playing soft music, and doing everything he could think of to try to set a good example. But nothing worked. He yelled at the bird, and the bird got worse. He shook the bird, and the bird got more angry and more rude. Finally, in a moment of desperation, Dick put the parrot in the freezer. For a few moments, Dick heard the bird squawking and kicking and screaming. Then suddenly there was quiet. Dick was frightened that he might have actually hurt the bird, so he quickly opened the freezer door. The parrot calmly stepped out onto Dick's extended arm and said, "I am sorry that I might have offended you with my language and actions, and ask for your forgiveness. I will endeavor to correct my behavior." Dick was astounded at the bird's change of attitude. He was just about to ask the parrot what had made such a drastic change in his attitude when the parrot spoke again and said, "May I ask what the chicken did?" The parrot needed something drastic to happen to change his attitude. Sometimes we need something drastic to happen that makes us stop and think. These encounters can change us, hopefully for the better. Encounters like the one the parrot had cause us to wake up, shake up, and put on our makeup. They open the eyes of our hearts and give us a glimpse of where we are as compared to where we could be. Drastic encounters flush the quail out of the bushes of our lives. These experiences are red lights on the dashboard of our lives, signaling us to change, do something different, make an adjustment. If we don't, we will encounter danger and expensive repairs ahead. I'll keep going. Remember, your talent is God's gift to you. However, what you do with your talent is your gift to God. God wants to prepare you for what He has ready for you. Being prepared is also your responsibility. Good attitude and character are what move you from unfulfilled potential to fulfilled reality. You can't change your character by getting a facelift. Character and attitude is an inside job. Take the first step towards changing your situation. It is my sincere desire for you to reach your dream, vision, goal, and destiny. It's God's desire too. So when those drastic attention-getting times come, it may be God getting you ready for what He has for you. Learn from the parrot, adjust the attitude, and go for gratitude. God wants to give us more than just crackers. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. That's from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. Jeremiah also wrote the book Lamentations, and he was so distraught about the Israelites, the Jews, and how they were continuously over and over making the same mistakes. Well, I don't know about you, but I can get that. I can see where I made mistakes over and over again, and it was really an addictive kind of mistake. It was yeah. You want to know what it is. It wasn't the drinking. That wasn't addictive to me. It was the people. And I'll just put it like that. It was at a time where I felt really low because my marriage had failed. My boys were supporting my husband more than they were supporting me. And I was staying in a marriage much, much longer than most people would have today. And it was because my husband was a good man too. It is this bleeding heart that I have to cure the problem and not dispense of the person. And when I let go of the marriage, it was because I was addicted to the attention I was getting when I was outside of the marriage, was when I was in a social situation. So that's where I was drinking and I was having a lot of fun. And I said it before, it was punishment that helped me stop much of that behavior. But the repeated mistake, of needing people to like me and like what I do and appreciate what I do, that I don't know. How do we ever get over that, right? And I suppose being here all by myself with, a big goose egg over there, as far as watchers go, as far as viewers go, this can be a antidote for that. I don't know. All I'm saying is, I don't know. I miss Annette. MS. Miss Annette. Let's go ahead and see what we have today. And what we have today is, watch this. I know. Can you believe it? I already have it up there. We're talking about responsibility, so we're going to see how far we get. But we're starting now. I already gave you the ant and the grasshopper. It's the reason why our ant is our mascot for our character trait, responsibility, right? So we've talked about that. I know the kids do really like that. And so let's show you as a reminder. Oh, not that way. We're going to go this way. We're going to look at that. Of our character champions again. So let's remind you of those, right? There they are. There, all of them are. I'll leave that up for a little bit longer. For now, I'll get some more character champions when we get moving on from these character traits. Responsibility, the green ant. The red hawk, cooperation. The blue dolphin, kindness. The brown wolf, courage. And the white owl, trustworthiness. Those are our character champions. And so we read the story of the ant and the grasshopper, which was the Aesop's fables. It was not really all that inspiring. Right? Yeah, maybe you liked it, but it wasn't all that inspiring. Let's read the book or the story of Jonah and the whale, or Jonah and the great fish actually is what it was. You can see that's not a whale, it's a great fish. Whatever. And then let's think about these questions. Why didn't Jonah want to go to Nineveh? Did Jonah follow the rules of being responsible? Remember, we talked about those rules. Those were some questions to think about. That's why we chose ants. That was Aesop's fable. So we have been doing some work, right? And then here were the questions to think about, right? Even on your 4 days off, these were some good questions to think about. Is it safe? Are you being dependable? And are you following the rules? So let's think about that when we're reading the story of Jonah and the great fish, all right? Let's think about those questions. Is it safe? Was he being safe? Was he being dependable? And was Jonah following the rules? All right? So think about those questions, and let's get back to some of those other Jonah questions. So, did Jonah follow the rules of being responsible? Was he being safe? Was he being dependable? Was he following the rules? Why were the sailors drawing lots? All right, so the sailors were drawing lots. Did it work? What was Jonah's reaction? How long did Jonah remain in the belly of the fish? What does this remind you of? It also should be a reminder of the drawing lots as well. So drawing lots by the sailors, and also how long did Jonah remain in the belly of the fish? What happened when Jonah eventually went to Nineveh? And what was the significance of the vine? That should remind you of something else as well. It's so interesting to me the way this story ends. And I have to ask, what happened to Jonah? If that's the way the story ends, what happened to Jonah? Okay, let's get to the story. Watch this. There's the story too. And my snaps aren't too bad. I mean, granted, oh, look at, I just saw it. It wasn't bad at all. Granted, the sound of my snaps isn't great, but the snap isn't too bad. All right, so there's our story. That's as bright as I could get it. So hopefully you can see it, and that will allow you to read along as well. And reading along always does help your reading skills. So this is from the book of Jonah, chapters 1 through 4, Jonah and the great fish. And let's go ahead and read the story. I'm going to get my sweater. Oh, also, I need to tell you that we have a different schedule today. So the schedule is going to be the reading room. We are going to get to at 2:15. I have to go get my tabs. So I've got an appointment to get my tabs. And, you know, they give you one time to choose. The last one was 3 o'clock. That's it. 12:20. Nothing else. Okay. It's okay. I'll work with it. It's probably not going to let me confirm that visit. I just decided to do something. Okay. Let's read our story. God told his prophet Jonah to go to Nineveh and warn the people there to turn away from their wickedness. But Jonah disliked the Ninevites and did not want to hear God's message. So he went instead to Joppa. There he found a berth on a ship sailing to Tarshish. Now there is the map of where Joppa is and where Tarshish is and where Nineveh is. I mean, do you think he could have gone any further at all? 550 miles to get to Joppa from Nineveh, and then another 2,500 miles to Tarshish. And don't you think it's at least a little bit funny that he would think that, you know, God, the creator of the universe, wouldn't have known where he went? And 2,500 miles isn't much to God who created the universe, as he's overseeing everything that goes on. Don't you think that he would know where you were going? Here is a map in the beginning of this book as well. And I just think that the map is so pretty that I wanted to show it to you. And I love this book. It's just worth really getting the book. The Children's Illustrated Bible by Selena Hastings, illustrated by Eric Thomas. And as you can see, you can get it from archive.net as well. And there is the map. And you can see here on the map, it doesn't show where Joppa is though. And Joppa is across from Jericho here. And here's Nineveh. There's Nineveh. And Joppa is across right here on what they called the Great Sea. I think they called it the Great Sea. I can't remember. Maybe it's on this picture. I think it is. Not on that one. On no, it's not on that one. I can't remember where I saw it. It say that the Great Sea. I don't remember. So I wanted to show you that map. I'm not quite sure why the other map wasn't sufficient, but that sure tells you a story, doesn't it? He was trying to flee from his responsibility. What happens when you try and flee from your responsibility? Your responsibility goes away? God can't find you? I don't think so. I don't think that's the way it goes. As soon as the ship put out to sea, God sent a great wind that whipped the water up into a storm, and it seemed that the ship would break apart. The sailors, terrified, threw everything they could overboard to lighten the load. The captain went below, where he found Jonah fast asleep. "Wake up and pray to your God to save us," he cried. Isn't that interesting? That people knew it was the Jewish God, the God of the Israelites, who could really perform miracles, who could really do the saving. Meanwhile, the sailors on deck were drawing lots why? To discover among them who among them was the cause of the storm. The name drawn was Jonah's. How about that? "Yes," he said, "I am the cause of the trouble. I am an Israelite, and I ran away from the Lord. Throw me over the side, and the storm will die down." Well, that was taking responsibility now, wasn't it? But it was more like, I would rather die than go to Nineveh. At first, the men hesitated and tried to row the ship toward the shore, but the waves grew higher and the wind screamed louder, and they took hold of Jonah and threw him into the sea. At once, the wind dropped and the water grew calm. Something to be said for casting lots. As Jonah swam in the sea, he was swallowed by a giant fish. For 3 days and nights he remained in its belly, praying to God and thanking the Lord for keeping him alive, until the fish vomited Jonah onto dry land. So how long was he swallowed by the fish? 3 days and nights. Again, the Lord told Jonah to go to Nineveh, and this time he went and warned the people that their city would be destroyed. The king and all his subjects, knowing they had done wrong, begged God to spare them and promised they would mend their ways. They repented. That's what they did. They repented. God heard their prayers and resolved not to harm them. Jonah, however, was angry that the city was to be spared. He was angry about what God ruled. He was angry that God saved his children. He built himself a shelter outside the city walls, meaning to stay there until Nineveh fell. God watching over him. So he thought, yeah, they said that, but they were wicked people. Jonah knew they were wicked people. So he figured God didn't know what he was talking about saving them. They would always be wicked. And Jonah sat outside the city and waited for the city to fall. God, watching over him, made a vine grow up to shade Jonah from the sun. But the next morning, God sent a worm that fed on the roots of the vine until it withered and died. The sun grew hot, and a stifling wind blew from the east until Jonah was suffering so much he wished himself dead. Why are you angry that the vine has withered? God asked him. Why do you care about a vine that you neither planted nor watered, while you resent my care for the well-being of a city of thousands of souls? So Jonah wanted God to take care of the vine, his creation, his shade, when Jonah wouldn't take care of God's people as he asked. And in Jonah's heart, he didn't believe God. That's the end of the story. What happened to Jonah? Let's look at the pictures. I'm going to put them up here. Well, I'll put them right up here. So there's the sperm whale. The fish that swallowed Jonah may have been a sperm whale. These whales are known to visit the eastern Mediterranean Sea with their large throats. They can swallow the body of a man whole. So this can happen. There, the boat there. The sailors throw Jonah overboard. You can see Jonah right there above the fisheye, falling into the sea. Then we've got Jonah is swallowed by a giant fish, and for 3 days and 3 nights he remained in its belly. As Jonah watches over Nineveh, God makes a vine grow to shade him from the sun, but then causes it to wither and die. Really a great picture there, isn't it? Because I couldn't picture a vine, but now I can. He's in, I forgot what they call those, but we saw a picture of that. And maybe it was in this book or in some other book. We saw a picture of that. I wonder what that was about. And that's exactly what it was for. It was for the shading for people. I'm trying to think of where we saw that picture. And then the last picture there at the bottom says Nineveh. That's Nineveh. Above is a model of part of the wall that once surrounded Nineveh, the capital of Assyria. We saw it on the map, right? The wall was 8 miles long. Parks and many grand buildings once lay within these walls. So it's interesting that Nineveh is not far from Babylon. Babylon was destroyed, never to be rebuilt, and it still has not been rebuilt. And yet Nineveh was saved. So here, I'll take that off for just a second. So here we can see on the map Here is Babylon right there. And this is the Tower of Babel. And here is Nineveh. So not very far away. And this area here was really a pagan area. All of this area was pagan worship. And the Babylonians and the Egyptians got together, and many of them were enemies of the Israelites. So Nineveh was not, and you can see this says Assyria. This is all Mesopotamia. So this is all the very first peoples were created right here, right? So that is a great story about responsibility, and again, doesn't necessarily have a happy ending. Not all God's stories are all about the great feats of war and heroes, is it? Like all of our other stories, most of our other stories, you know, even Lord of the Rings, great stories that are about heroes, even though they have trials and tribulations, where here you see who is a prophet. Jonah is a prophet and does not come to save people that God says are worthy of saving. Jonah's like, yeah, maybe. I don't think so. But Jonah was afraid. He was afraid to take his responsibility because they were horrible people. He thought he was going to die. You jumped in the water. It didn't seem to bother you to die that way. At the hands of evil people, though, you know, I say that about the pharmaceutical companies. You know, I would rather die than be put in the care of those pharmaceutical companies that will destroy your brain without thinking anything about it. Destroy your mission, destroy your purpose, destroy your spirit. That's what they do with those pharmaceuticals. And it's because they don't believe. That's why. They can't believe. They know what those pharmaceuticals do to a human being. And if they don't care about that, that's because they're not believers. Jonah was a believer. He had a relationship with God. And clearly he didn't mind jumping in the water during a storm. But I do understand not wanting to be, rather dying your way than being in the hands of evil people. I do understand that. Okay, let's go on with our PowerPoint. Let me see, how many minutes have we been here? 52 minutes. I've got to stop because I really want to make my appointment and not have to worry about it. So we're going to get here at 10:30 for our, let's go ahead and put that schedule up there. For our Bookless classroom. All right, so we're stopping at 9:50 like we usually do, even though we're past 9:50. We're going to come back at 10:30 to 11:30, and then we're going to be back here in the reading room at 2:15. Before we take off though, let's take a look at some of those things to think about, because tomorrow we're back in natural history. So I want to bring up these questions again to you, some things to think about as we are trying to reflect, do sort of an examination of our conscience, an examination of our hearts to see, are we really building our character in ways? Are we setting the example? Not as Dr. Feravich, but as Miss Annette. When it comes to making choices, is it okay to do anything you want? Why or why not? How often do you think about whether something is right or wrong? Do you think you usually know what is right or wrong? Remember yesterday, we read in our Case for Christ. Oh, no, it was our Case for Faith. I almost always know what the right thing to do is. I don't always have the will to do it. That was what Jonah was missing, wasn't it? Maybe he prayed for grace, but he was stubborn, wasn't he? He was stubborn. No, I'm not going to do it. They are awful people. And you're forgiving a people just because they say they're sorry that I know are awful people. That was Jonah's will, right? So, do you usually know what is right or wrong? And how do you know? Do you think others use the same guidelines when it comes to right and wrong? Remember, we're talking about whether or not you have those laws in your heart. What are some benefits of doing the right thing? And then how does it feel when your parents say you did a good job or when you don't? When you work out your problems, how does that feel when you work out your problems? How does it feel when you can't? How does it feel when you are given more responsibility? How does it feel when you can't be trusted? How does it feel when you act kindly towards someone else? How does it feel when you're mean to someone else? I don't know if I told you. I think I might have told you yesterday. No, I didn't. I wrote it. Solomon asked for wisdom. And I've thought through my life, what would I ask for? Wisdom was always a good one for me. I always liked what Solomon asked for, even though Solomon's life really wasn't grand. Then the other day I thought, well, let me ask for kindness. Remember, we're talking about our gifts from the Holy Spirit: peace, joy, love, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Which one would I ask for now? Love. That I can do more loving. I can be more loving. So kindness, yes. But if I love you, I will be kind to you. When you act courageous, how does it feel when you act courageous? How does it feel when you're afraid? All right, so that prepares us to go into your 4 days off. Not quite yet, right? We have natural history tomorrow with Comte, the Count of Buffon. Is that buffoon? This is Dr. Annette Feravich. You can call me Miss Annette. And get ready for thinking a little bit more about responsibility on your 4 days off. All right. It is day 365. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. You can call me Miss Annette. It is June 24th. I'm going to have a hard time getting rid of that Dr. Annette Feravich. I've said it so much, right? Annette Feravich, Ph.D. But you can call me Miss Annette. See, that doesn't sound very good either, does it? Ugh, another thing we have to work into the program. Thanks so much for joining me here in the classroom with the teacher, Miss Annette. where I am always working to make your mind, your body, and your spirit healthier. Thanks for joining me.